I-24 News Morning Edition on this January, I believe it is the 19th, said Yael Lavie, looking timidly at Ruthie Sinai, I-24 News Senior News Editor. Thank you. It is January 19th, and we're back. We're moving to the United Kingdom, where American presidential candidate Donald Trump's larger-than-life persona is making waves. A debate over banning the billionaire Republican candidate over his anti-Muslim campaign remarks took place last night. No vote was taken on the issue, but it was nevertheless a highly emotionally charged and very unconventional discussion, to say the least. It comes as 10 Downing Street faces criticism of its own migrant integration issues. Prime Minister David Cameron pledged a £20 million fund to teach Muslim women in the UK to speak English in what he says is a way to tackle segregation and help them resist the lure of extremism. Critics have also come out against the fund, saying he has wrongly conflated the two issues. With us in studio, as I mentioned, is Ruthie Sinai, I-24 News Senior Editor. And before anything else, on this January 19th, we're going to take a look at the following report from the UK, then break it down.
Finally, an issue all British MPs agree to disagree on. Donald Trump's call to ban Muslims from entering the US and his description of a so-called radicalized London. But are they united enough to stop the Republican presidential frontrunner from visiting the UK?
I don't want him in my country. He clearly doesn't want me in his country for no good reason. And that's why I don't think we should be allowing Donald Trump to come into our country and spread some of his poisonous rhetoric.
Tulip Sadiq is not alone. Over 500,000 people in Britain have signed an online petition launched by activist Susan Kelly, calling for Trump to be banned from the country.
It's a strategic move. You can't get away from the fact it's essentially hate speak. It just inflames tensions.
Under new Parliament rules, MPs are obligated to debate any petition signed by over 100,000 people. But some MPs say banning Trump may have the adverse effect.
I don't want to assist Donald Trump in any way, and I think that's the view of nearly all MPs. And we could, perversely, by banning him, increase his standing amongst his supporters in America.
The debate was, predictably, fiery and emotional.
His words are not comical. His words are not funny. His words are poisonous.
Isn't it up for the American people to decide whether his views are objectionable?
The unconventional debate also discussed a counter-petition calling for Trump not to be banned from the country, meaning no action came from either motion, other than giving politicians the opportunity to air their views on the divisive former businessman and giving the public confidence that their anger is being listened to.
We're going to go straight to London first, because we're joined by the spokesperson for Republican Overseas in the United Kingdom and research fellow at the Adam Smith Institute, Kate Andrews. Ms. Andrews, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Very, how should I put this, very strong words against Donald Trump in the upper echelon of the British Parliament yesterday. Reaction to that to begin with?
Well, I think many of the words and sentiments against him were justified. His comments just over a month ago went too far. His attack on the entirety of the Muslim community in the world and suggesting that they shouldn't be allowed temporarily to come to America was deeply offensive. I would flag up that, you know, he has made some pretty outrageous comments very recently against Mexicans. He's insulted working women. So I was shocked that people were so surprised by his comments. And I was also shocked that people took them so seriously. I mean, this is a man who's created his entire career out of getting media attention, and he knows what to say. And I think that what he said was not actually meant to stir up any sort of kind of ideological hatred towards the Muslim community, but rather it was an attack on the elites and their inability to really combat radicalism. The way he did it, however, was absolutely appalling.
Media attention, Kate, I agree with you. Media attention is garnered by outrageous statements, but also a very big lead in the Republican polls is garnered, seemingly not just by these statements, but by Mr. Donald Trump. How do you reconcile, and I'm asking you because you're living in the UK, where those statements were taken very seriously, how do you reconcile being a Republican over there?
Well, these polls are a bit misleading at the moment, so not a single American has cast a vote yet for either the Democratic nominee or the Republican nominee for president. The people who will be doing that are people who are registered Republicans and registered Democrats, and a lot of people in the States choose not to register with either. So it's already a very particular kind of person who's very dedicated to the movement who's showing up. And these poll numbers tend to get skewed because they tend to be more radical on both sides, those kinds of voters. They don't necessarily resonate with the moderate Republicans or sort of middle America who haven't made up their mind yet. And I'd also point towards Trump's favorability and unfavorability ratings. He has consistently polled at being around 35% favorable and 50 to 60% unfavorably. We're talking Republicans, we're talking Democrats. Even though he has led so far in the polls, a lot of that has to do with the fact that other candidates just haven't mustered up the support yet. There's a huge percentage of people out there, probably
yeah, or the media attention, one can argue. I'll be happy if you can stay with us. Ruthie Sinai with me in studio. That said, you know, the British Parliament can debate Trump entering the country or not, but David Cameron's initiative to teach Muslim women English is also making waves across the UK. And the problem is not just the lingo. I mean, there is a problem in the UK also when it comes to that minority, isn't there?
Right, there is, and I want to say something grim. You said waves. If we look outside, we see how grim the waves are outside. And I think the fact is that Donald Trump is saying what a lot of people are thinking and don't want to say. And I want to say this, you know, the words are fine, the words are nice, and everybody can get on their high horse and be very politically correct. But the fact is as follows. Cameron is talking about the need for immigrants to learn English or they'll be deported. He's talking about the need for them to earn a certain amount of money or they can't stay. Germany is going to Morocco and saying, you know, our aid is contingent on your accepting back asylum seekers that we can't take in.
Right.
Turkey is talking to, the European Union is talking to Turkey about membership in the EU conditional on the fact that they allow migrants to work. Germany is now talking about sending troops to Libya to prevent migrants from coming over there, you know, and there's a lot of other examples.
There's a lot, and you know, we actually have Mr. Cameron himself, sadly not on Skype, but the soundbite, the statement from yesterday. Let's have a listen to that first.
We want to build a more integrated, cohesive, one-nation society where everyone can make the most of their talents. You can't have a country of opportunity if some people can't speak the language. Now, in many cases, it's no fault of their own. It's because they've been put into a situation where they've been encouraged not to integrate.
You know, when the Prime Minister of Britain says that, and it sounds much better than Donald Trump.
It does.
I'm not comparing, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, I know what you're saying, but the thing is, look, the fact that he says it very politely and that it makes sense. You can't, you know, it's hard to argue with it. On the other hand, you know, if you're going to be a democracy and you're going to let people choose their culture and the way of life and their religion, then you know, then you don't. It's not conditioned on things, on how much you make or what language you speak. Now, if you want to get, you know, accepted to work and you're not accepted because you're not, you know, you don't get the job because you don't speak the language, that's a different story. But I'm serious. But I'm saying if a person decides that they you know, cannot learn English. They're unable to. They don't have time. They have 7 kids. That, you know, they're intellectually challenged. I don't know what you're going to. You're going to kick them out. You're going to kick them out. Now, look, in the States, it's the same thing. In order to get citizenship, you do need to prove language proficiency. Right. It's not an unreasonable demand, but I don't think it should be conditional on your ability to stay in a country. Yeah. And I think, you know, that's the mixed message a lot of these migrants are getting.
Are getting from it. Exactly. No, and sadly, we'll probably be getting from across the board when it comes to the European nations, including the United States. Ruthie, thank you. I'm locking you in studio as we move along.